Thank you for joining us for this episode of CNTV. I'm Brad Clonch.
And I'm Quin Tran. We've been sharing with you ways to start and keep goals for good health.
Working on those goals can develop into healthy habits for life.
Dr. Daniel Molina knows what it takes to stay fit. He's been training for Ironman competitions, recently completing his 10th event.
I remember seeing, this competition as a young kid on TV. There was a series called Wide World of Sports on ABC, and they actually highlighted, or they actually showed the first race, and I was in awe because it was in Hawaii. They were swimming in the ocean. They rode their bikes through the lava fields, and they were running in crowds, and folks were tripping over themselves because they were so fatigued. It was just fascinating to me. But fast forward to 2014, I had an opportunity to meet a group of people who were involved with a charity, the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society, and they were, in a form of a fundraiser, were asking individuals to participate in an Ironman, which would have been the first one for me. And there was a charitable component to it, so we would raise some money. But for me, it was a personal challenge. I had done all of those events individually, but never for that long of a time and all on the same day. So in 2014 is when I actually did my very, very first full distance Ironman race.
For those who don't know, what does the Ironman competition entail?
Yeah, so the Ironman competition is a day-long activity that's divided by 3 events. So it starts off with a swim, and it's usually a swim in open water. So it's not in a swimming pool. It's usually in the ocean or a lake or a river or a reservoir of some type. And that's 2.4 miles. So once you finish that, you immediately get out of the body of water that you've been swimming in, and you get on your bike, and you're going to be on that bike for a while because you're actually going to ride that bike for 112 miles. If that's not enough, now you're going to finish up your entire day by running a marathon. So again, 26.2 miles after you've done your swim, after you've done your bike ride, and then you actually finish out that run. So in the world of Ironman Triathlon, the number 140.6 is very important because that's the distance that is covered in one day by someone who finishes. And I think they give you a limit of 16 hours, I think it is, to finish that. So if you take longer than that, they just tell you to go home. It's like, yeah, we'll take you off the course because that's too long, and people at the finish line need to go home. To give you an idea of how fast some individuals can finish, you have folks who are at the pro level can go and finish it as fast as 8 hours, or just actually a little under 8 hours. The best that I've ever been able to finish it is just over 11 hours, like 11 hours and a couple of minutes.
That is remarkable that you can get it done in 11 hours, but it sounds so crazy, Dr. Molina. Why put yourself through this?
Well, okay. So the very first one that you do, or that I did, was a bucket list. You have bragging rights. People will say, "Hey, I've done an Ironman," and you can reminisce with everybody who's done something along those lines. But one thing that I quickly learned about myself is that I don't like to do things just once. I know, and I knew how much training it took to be able to do that the very first time. And my mindset was, no, this is just a lifestyle. Why am I going to work really hard for 1 year and then, sit on the couch and look back and reminisce on the good old days? No. So I just really made this part of my lifestyle where, pretty much I either swim, bike, or run nearly every day of the week. May take a Sunday off here and there, but it just becomes part of who you are, what you do, and a healthy lifestyle. And it puts you around individuals too who have similar goals, ambitions. You have to be very organized to do this. You have a full-time job in addition to this, so you have to figure out how all of those training hours work in your day. So there's a lot of elements to it. But yeah, the biggest thing is I wasn't satisfied just stopping after doing something once.
You've done 10 Ironman competitions. Wow. Tell us about this latest one, this recent one.
It's in Tempe, just outside of Phoenix. it's beautiful there in November. The temperatures are in the mid to upper 70s, but because it's the desert, it gets cold at night. So the hardest part of the race for me has always been the swim. And because it gets pretty cold at night, the water was incredibly cold. I mean, I'm not sure if some of our listeners have or viewers have an idea of water temperature, but it was hovering between 59 and 60 degrees, which we wear a wetsuit, so that does help, but that is still very, very cold. So it's very, very satisfying to get out of the water. And for me, I love my bike. I love to be on a bike. Cycling is my favorite sport of these. And once I get there, I'm in my happy space. And another thing that I enjoy doing, this is all very meditative. You're by yourself. You're with your own thoughts. You're processing things that you're grateful for, things that you are important to you, the role that that God plays in your life. All of these very, very spiritual important things are there for you to actually spend time with yourself. And then by the time you get to the run, that's where I say things get real. Everything else is a lead up. Then you start having those conversations of, this is hurting. I'm uncomfortable. How are you going to keep going? Because you still have like 20 miles to run still. And those are a lot of very frank conversations that you have with yourself. Fortunately, there's a lot of supporters. So there's a lot of people cheering you on. So that's always motivating and keeps you mentally healthy and keeps you going. And a spiritual engine is what I think I have sometimes that kind of keeps me going, because I don't know if I could do this, on my own, just on the flesh and bones that are in my body. There's something else that's pushing me, keeping me going forward.
Dr. Molina encourages us to find exercise, fitness activity that we enjoy. Start small and gradually grow.
It's also important to think about ways to stay healthy in body, mind, and spirit. Visit Chickasaw.net and explore resources for health and wellness on the tribe's website. We're looking forward to the Three Sisters celebration. The event will be held March 14th through the 18th at the Chickasaw Cultural Center. The Three Sisters celebration marks the return of spring and the planting season. The Three Sisters, beans, corn, and squash are essential crops that grow well together. Learn all about the Three Sisters and take part in activities planned during the fun celebration. Go to ChickasawCulturalCenter.com for a schedule of events. This original drawing is the winner of the Dynamic Women of the Chickasaw Nation Butterfly Art Contest. The artist is Sophie Mader, an Ada High School sophomore. Next month, we connect with the young Chickasaw to talk about her design and future goals that are already taking flight. Scholarships through the Chickasaw Foundation help students pursue higher education. Thanks to a donation from Enel North America, the foundation established 2 scholarships for students pursuing STEM degrees.
We connect with Hank Snyder, a Chickasaw citizen attending Texas A&M University. He's studying ways to improve the environment.
I'm studying geosciences here at Texas A&M, and I'm hoping I can go into renewable energy in the future. It's a growing field. Geosciences, relates to water, it relates to air, it relates to the earth. So there's a ton of opportunities, and if it makes the air a little bit cleaner, then people live a little bit longer, then that's a big difference.
Enel North America donated to the Chickasaw Foundation. That donation helps fund your scholarship of about $10,000 for the school year. How has the scholarship been helpful to you?
Just not having that as big a cloud over my head, when you think about student debt and you think about how long it'll take to pay it off, how long it'll take until you're finally free from it, knowing that it's not going to be as daunting or as big of a challenge anymore. I'm extremely grateful, extremely blessed.
You are set to graduate December 2023. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
What's your career plan? What's your path?
2 big energy hubs in my area are Houston and Tulsa. And so I'm thinking about either going to Houston or, if I want to be closer to my family. I have family in Enid and OKC. So Tulsa would also be a good environment for me to go to. And I think maybe I begin with consulting and doing private firms, doing what I can to just kind of build up a resume and build up a career. And then hopefully I can kind of go into the engineering sense of energy. Well, I think STEM is kind of the backbone of, the jobs that we have and like the, what the nation runs on, you know? Like we all drive cars and cars drive gas. Well, who refines that gas? It's a STEM major, and who produces the stuff to refine it? That's another STEM major. And, another thing to make it a little less intimidating is there's a ton of creativity in STEM majors. You think mathematics, you think engineering and science are like there's no wiggle room, there's no ability to express yourself, but there's a lot of fields you can do in which you use that math, use that engineering to express your own ideas and kind of, you know, uh, put out what you like and what you feel is best. And so, like, I had a project, and my project was writing about human development and like how coal usage relates to it. And I was able to use all these charts and graphs and maps, and I was able to be like pretty artistic with it. And so that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
What would you say about Texas A&M and your experience there?
I've loved it, but I grew up in San Antonio, so I'm used to like big populations, like being all crammed together in once. And so this campus, especially right now, like this library I'm in is packed. You know, I'm hoping I can save my seat for when the interview's over, but but I've enjoyed it. I really like the people, it's the Southern hospitality. I also considered Oklahoma State as my second choice, but ultimately I just wanted to be closer to my mom. My mother's side is from Enid, Oklahoma, and that's where my Chickasaw heritage comes from. Growing up, I had clothing grants, and that helped me get ready for school every year. They paid for my hearing. I have hearing loss, and they paid for my hearing aids. Uh, I believe it was third grade, and then later on my senior year of high school. And so they've helped me in my education in many ways. And you know, I I feel like I'm a very important member, even though I'm not that, close to, the community. I'm very far from Ada and, all this, but I'm still so blessed, and I'm still like, I feel loved by them. And so I want to do everything I can to like reciprocate that. I'm hoping I can give back by like making the earth a greener, safer place and protecting natural resources. I'm very lucky to be a part of the Chickasaw Nation. I'm very blessed for it.
Congratulations to Hank Snyder and Luke Crutchfield, the two recipients of the Enel Scholarship.
Learn more about the Chickasaw Foundation at chickasawfoundation.org. Established in 1971, the foundation not only offers scholarship opportunities, it assists Oklahoma communities in need.
The needs include funding for disaster relief, food pantries, emergency services, and more.
The foundation does wonderful work. Well, we've enjoyed spending time with you here on CNTV.
See you next time.